This is Justin Amazon on Friday, December 7th, 2018. After hours yesterday, continued up a little bit of an S curve this morning, and ran right into our line at 1450, and just kind of rolling back down a little bit from there right before pre-market. As the day opens up, got a nice little high wave candle here, a lot of buying, got sold down, but then bought back up and runs right into the line. Don't get a close above it. The close is 1713.95, so a little bit below. And if you look back to 2 days ago, this is where we kind of pivoted here. We retested into this level, stayed below this line. Now we're back up pre-market, couldn't get above it, and well, just a wick above it. And then today, get a little wick above it. So I'm going to zoom in on, let's see, there's a little bit more. There we go. All right. So this looks like a nice Morningstar, but it's kind of not at the right place for Morningstar. I do like that we're gapping basically right up into this. So anybody who bought yesterday could be selling up here. Now, some folks are still buying. This was the sellers. This is the buyers. And got another wick, upper wick here, but we actually moved down a little bit from where that close was. And this kind of starts to look like maybe a double top, including the pre-market, obviously. But, I really want to see a close above this line and above this wick. So, like, if you're going bullish, go 1720 by probably 1704 or something like that, with the shares. Now, the other thing you can do is look at this with a bearish trade. What if we have this as an inverted hammer and we roll back down to like 1665 and retest this as a bigger S curve? That has the better risk reward, and it kind of makes sense because we were right up here at resistance, and now we're just playing both sides of the trade. Like yesterday we're mostly looking at bullish. Well, what if today we mostly look at some bearish? So now we get a morning even star reversal here with the low of these two candles pretty similar to each other. So again, we're probably doing something like 1704 by 1720 now, going bearish, and possibly triggered here, but retest up into this candle sideways. Now we got 20 minutes going sideways, and now we start to break down. We take out this lower wick. You could be into the trade right here had you waited for that to break down. We had some similar highs here that are upper wicks, and now we got a lower high, lower low after an inside candle here. So this can totally look like a smaller double top here, and your neckline is right here, and you could wait for a retest back up slightly. Maybe it breaks down a little more, comes back up, and then rolls over, or you just going bearish. Well, this one's just going bearish. The squeeze is fired. That had been forming. And now we've taken out the open candles low. We're right here at pre-market low, and we're right at this pivot from yesterday, right at 1690 already. So that's a great target if you were getting in bearish up here, and had you traded just this candle, you're probably at like 2 or 3 R and maybe taking a little bit of profit. We continue breaking down from there. Now we're pretty much retesting 1690 from below and getting into a stair step. So 20 minutes of stair step, similar to 20 minutes of stair step. And we break down again. Now we're almost down to 1665 already, and it's been at about an hour since open. So a nice quick trade back down. This is where it'd be nice to look for some sort of buying, some sort of a bounce, and then get in bullish. Going sideways, smaller candles, always like those. This is the bookends for rest after battle. And it looks like it's going to continue. So look at this. It's, these candles retested this low. These candles retested this level. Didn't quite get back up to 1690 again to get a real retest from below, other than this one. And now we're right here into 1665. And maybe we pause, maybe we continue lower. And we pause, retest, and now we break down again. Now we've taken out the low of this pivot. We're almost back down to, yeah, we're pretty much at this level. Yeah, we're there. We're at this level again, where we were yesterday. Now we've moved down pretty quickly. Similar to this trade going up, we're doing this going down with some, a lot of bearish candles in a row, just like yesterday, a lot of bullish in a row, a little bit of a pause, bullish candles in a row. Get some bearish, couple bullish, bearish, couple bullish, bearish. So a lot of big bearish candles, just like we had a lot of big bullish candles through this move. So it's really a retracement of the rally we had from yesterday. The only question now is, how much lower is this going to go? Because we're below the 1665, which was a nice target on the, moving back down. And we're very quickly traversing the no man's land here. Are we going to come back all the way down to the low here? So I like that it held this low yesterday. I really want to see it continue on up from here, and it's definitely not doing that. Definitely going more bearish. So we got a little more retest. This retest here looks very similar to the one that I showed earlier from 2 days ago. I'm sorry, from Tuesday, because Wednesday the market was closed. So this, it actually pushes up above the line here, but we're right back into the low here. So it's kind of doing this pattern today. Break down, retest a previous low on the day. Break down, retest a previous low on the day. Break down, retest a previous low on the day. Maybe we'll get a retest back up to here if we get below it. All over, retest this line. The high here is 1664.94. So that's only a few cents less, less than 50 cents away from the line, and just does not look very strong. You got this candle, which broke out of these two going bullish right into the line, and then immediately have a sell-off that takes out the low, lower high, lower low, and just about takes out this low. So, I mean, you can be trading this bearish with a breakdown here if you didn't get in on a retest here. And there were probably some people who were getting in bearish here on this candle and got stopped out as it came up this high. So nice touch of the 21 there also. So this is a nice stair step, and then breaks down, sideways, breaks down. So now we're below this pivot. We're actually getting lower than this area from yesterday, and we're forming another squeeze. So here we have a bigger retest. This is the one where it doesn't really look like the earlier ones. This one's retesting kind of the highs in here, not really lows like we've been doing. So something is shifted. The downtrend angle on this is pretty steady. We're right back into the 21. We'll see if that 21 holds and be kind of nimble. So here's an upper wick. This one comes into 1665.22, and our line is at 27. 5 cents away. So talk about being nickeled and dimed, right? All right, pushes above a little bit. Excuse me. And starts to roll over. So we got a double retest back up to this low, kind of similar to having a double retest to kind of this range and a double retest of 1665. We just got a double retest of 1665. Just push through it a little bit like yesterday, going down and then back. And this one, a retest right on it. This one we actually moved past a little bit. So very similar. If you kind of invert this with the 1665 price, to me it looks very similar to this on its way up, this on its way down. So squeeze fired, we're rolling down a little bit, but then we retest again and seem to be pausing below here and still feel a little more bearish. We really need to get a close above this to continue higher, and we really need to get a close below here to continue lower. And we've still got a couple hours in the day. Really sideways, squeeze forming again. So this was kind of some false moves with the squeeze, but this one is forming a little bit stronger here. A nice consolidation. and kind of wanting it to roll over bearish now. And we continue sideways, have one last gap of bullishness, and then we break down. Here's the candle breaking these lows here. This candle actually gapped down slightly, opening here. And we'll take a look at the options, see what we could do with some of these retests. But where we're at right now is we start to break down a little bit more. 3 candles in a row. Looks like it's going to hold this low, and then it moves past that. So looking back to yesterday, the next low that we have is in the pretty much around 1630. So that's kind of the next target here. Squeeze is fired. And instead of continuing straight on to it, like we've been moving down, it retests this low. Again, back to the old pattern, retesting a low after a pause, and forms a little bit of a pennant here, a little bit of a triangle here, and then breaks down again. And rolls down some more. We end up, let's see, we're almost at the end of the day, and we're just chopping around down here. Don't quite get down, let's zoom back out. We don't quite get down as far as the 16-17-54 price, but after hours we do. We're really right back down here again. On the daily, we're right back down here. It's still above it. It gapped up. It traded all the way back down, but this looks a lot more bearish than it did yesterday. It looked like a great bounce off of this level, going back to this pivot, sorry, not pivot there. This broke down just this level. This was a great place to have some resistance here, and played out going sideways with this triangle. And we had the line drawn in from here, going all the way back to March, and we were respecting it yesterday, and now today we're almost back to it. So be really interesting to see how this opens on Monday. If we can get a bounce similar to this, if we can hold this and rally from here again, I mean, what we just did is we just channeled right through here. You know, we could rally right back up and channel some more, but this is definitely an accumulation here, just the way that it's moved this way. The question is it going to continue to accumulate, or is it going to break down and distribute? So look for these levels, to hold and it to be bought up, just like it ran right into this level, and you can see very clearly a double top with a neckline retest and a continuation down lower. It just took all day to do it. So because it took all day, we switched over to the options. The bulls didn't do much with the calls, but the puts, there were some opportunities to get into some very inexpensive puts way up here. And that's the 1665 put. It was under $1 for like the whole first half hour of the morning. You could have gotten 2. Now, there's no telling it's going to actually get into the money like it did, but it's possible to set up something and just risk the absolute zero amount, so your whole R goes to that, and look for an R, look for 2R. Easily had that as the day opened up and it got moving. Some of these retests were right back into the same level. These are right back into like between $3 and $4 on these. So many times, many opportunities to buy like 4 by 3, and it moved up to 8 very quickly. So that's, it's 4R. Do it again here, 4 to 8. Do it again in here, 4 to 8. And this one, it continued on up to the high. So just the same trade over and over again on a Friday expiration until it starts moving and getting closer to the money. And then you get these bigger swings, and still looking for a pullback into 4, or maybe a little bit, maybe you jump up to 6 and see that, okay, pull back into this one, set it up 6 by 5, but then this one doesn't fill. And so you move it up a little bit. Okay, get in like 7 by 5, maybe take a little bit of an R from a previous trade, and then it doesn't fill here. And so, you're just kind of trying to chase it, but there's a nice little uptrend here on the option, all day really. Just like on the daily, on the 5 minute, there's kind of this picture of hey, this is sloping downward. You know, it's really not moving as strong as it was yesterday. So that line didn't really fit as well. If you just draw these, yeah, those connect up pretty nicely. So starting at about noon, the rest of the afternoon, it kind of kept this trend. Let's go back to what happened on the 5-minute to see, do we have something like that? Do we have that play out from noon? Do we have some pattern like that? Because if you draw from like way up here, didn't take that. There we go, way up here, way down. Yeah, it doesn't really have the touches that I don't want it to. So if we move this a little closer, oops. Move this a little closer to here. No, it's just here. There we go. From noon on, we just touched right back up into that line, pretty much following the 21, pretty much following this downtrend line. And the options did the same thing. So there were definitely opportunities to get in, even as it moved down in here. And here's the 1650 strike price. And so the strike related to that, you know, you can see where it got. This was a great place for it to pivot because it was at the money here, possibly in the money a little bit, or definitely in the money a little bit, but then drop back out of it because we're talking about put. Went sideways right under or right above that strike, and then got back into it again. And you know, a bunch of these candles in a row or in this area, trading right at the money for the put. Take a look back at the daily. We can see, you know, again, just clearly how we sold off from this level, and we're just traversing these two no man's lands. So, like I said, not much going on with the calls today. The 1700 calls didn't really have too much going on. This was possible to trade, but you know, it would have been really hard to get any of these bullish moves, and then just lost all of its value here. That was, I think, this retest or this retest. Those were the real opportunities there with the 1700 call. If you looked at the 1650 call, I mean, that started the day way in the money and then ended out of the money. And so there were some opportunities to get in, you know, on some of those retests, but much harder to trade with $100 risk. So being a little further out of the money, expiration Friday, where a big move is not expected, but if it doesn't, it's going to be huge. That's what happened today. That's kind of the theme of today. Is there were some opportunities to get in for very inexpensive throughout the day. Nice small risk, and just trade it. Just continue to trade it. Every time it touched the 21 was basically an opportunity today. So I hope this helps. Hope there was something that you were able to do. But you know, for me, it's just a good reminder that, you know, I wanted it to bounce and stay above this level, and we're right back into the low 1600s again today. So really we'll see. I guess what I would like to see is this to be a double bottom, and it rallies on Monday. Get right back into this, comes right back down to low 1700s and bounces. That's what that's what I'd like to see. That's if it's going to hold. Doesn't have to. We could gap down and just continue on lower, and this will look a little bit more of a head and shoulder with kind of this funky left shoulder that doesn't really look like a shoulder. It looks kind of flat, and then head, and then a shoulder here with a real neckline way down here that this didn't even get into. So we'll see if that happens, if it goes that way. But I'd like to see it bounce, and if it doesn't, I'd be one of those people that was trapped if I was in this long at this level. So we shall see. Hope you enjoyed this video. This is Just AMZN. Thanks.